Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This is your tarot reading for the week ahead. Lots to be thankful for, lots to be grateful for. Be slightly surprising that then I start with the devil, but the devil has appeared in probably about half of the readings this week. So you're no exception. Don't feel that he is picking on you by any means. The devil to me has been appearing many times because partly it's about what is the spiritual aspect of this festive season to us. It has got in many ways arguably very materialistic. The devil represents the material world, and we can often overlook and forget that are we celebrating the right things in the right way? Are we purely looking at the presents, the food, the very kind of material parts of Christmas, or are we thinking about what does it mean to us as a larger aspect? And that could be that it could represent a time of rest. Great. That could represent a time of the end of year where I am thankful and grateful for all that is in my life. And that is so perfectly segues into the 10 of Cups. Usually this is about joy and exuberance, and just this emotionally in particular doesn't get much better. Now, that isn't to say that that's not around, but it's a reminder of looking at things with a positive mental attitude this week. Unsurprisingly, Christmas for us, and this is the other thing that I've been saying, is why the devil is appearing a lot. It's not because I'm a grump or a what is it? A Scrooge in any way. What's that green thing? I can't remember. But anyway, the Grinch. I'm not the Grinch by any means. That's not why the devil is coming up. It's not to spoil anybody's parties by any means. But it's more of, you know, Christmas for many of us, for various different reasons, can be a challenging time. Sometimes, there's a reason that that in the soaps of EastEnders, in Emmerdale and whatnot. If you're watching in the UK, I'm sure there are many great soaps across the world, but that's why they're always the biggest storylines, right, in the Christmas period. Not only to pull in viewings, but because it is reflective of the dramas that can sometimes bubble up when Christmas and festive season is around. So it's a kind of, how do we navigate those energies sometimes? And lo and behold, the answer is within the 10 of Cups, of seeing the joy in all situations, not necessarily whitewashing it, but actually, can I reframe some of these challenges, some of these niggles, some of these frustrations that may pop up, just again, like little flashes. They're not necessarily indicative of the week of a whole. But actually, is there a way to reframe them that puts them in a more positive mindset? Do I need to take responsibility for my part of it in my actions? Or do I just look upon this person or this situation with compassion and love? Sometimes those that are around us are feeling, a lot of us are tired as it comes towards the end of the year. And there are sometimes a lot of demands and responsibilities and this anxiety of just wanting things to be great, because we know that these periods and these times are precious, and that there aren't many of them. So sometimes that gets misexpressed as frustration and annoyance. Or what else did I want to say on that? No, I think that's good. We'll move then on to the Chariot. It seems to be reflected very strongly as well with the Knight of Wands that sits almost next to it. There's a card in between. And these are really these go-getting energies. They're very fast-paced energies. So what is it next year that you're really looking forward to? Kind of, the more that you can cultivate this sense of go-gettedness, it's not necessarily a time, not necessarily this week, but coming up perhaps is not a time to be pulling back or just doing same old. It is about ambitions. It is about you venturing out into the world, whether that's literally or metaphorically. But next year probably represents a time that you can't withhold, withdraw back, or just stay very where you are as you are. This is a time to go out and get what you want. So those questions, actually, what is it I want? What is it that I want to go and grab by the horns, and just tackle and get on with? This isn't, as I've said to some of the other star signs, which is a slow and steady response. This is right, go and get them, cowboy. It's probably, it's quite a nice mantra in a way. Maybe if there are any moments of doubt or any moments of uncertainty, you can just think, right, go get them, cowboy. That's very much the feeling. Nice that we see the Emperor here too. The Emperor being very self-assured on his throne. So the Emperor knows that in order to do this, what the Chariot and the Knight of Wands represents, go out into the world, we first have to do that from a solid foundation and a firm foundation. A really helpful time. I know as Pisceans, you quite enjoy going with the flow, going with the rhythm of things, but the Emperor represents actually, he is Hay, the letter Hay from the Hebrew alphabet, which means window. So what is the window that we're looking through? What is the lens? What is the viewfinder that we're looking through? Because otherwise, what the Chariot and the Knight of Wands might do is just charge off completely in the wrong direction, and 6 months down the line think, oh goodness, I've wasted all that time, energy and resource just marching off because I was so enthusiastic about it. It doesn't mean that you have to come up with some rigid plan by any means, that it has to be complete. But just like a window, you might just think about the 4 quarters of your year ahead. It's like, what do I want to dedicate the first quarter to, the second quarter to, and the third quarter? Again, I'm slightly hesitant to say this is about New Year's resolutions, because again, that can often feel like a to-do list. But this is more of what. Sometimes a question to ask is, what would I want myself in 12 months' time at Christmas 2025 to say we've achieved over the year? Let that be the guiding light, rather than must do this, must do that, must do this, because this may fall out of what you're quote unquote supposed to do, and more of, actually, this is just what I would love to do. This is what would really excite me. So those things very well may be out of your comfort zone, or out of the ordinary, or even the expected. But before you just charge off into the distance, to get lost, make sure that you're putting a framework at the very least around some of those viewpoints. So what a really ugly word, I know, but what are some of the deliverables on the but again, this will just keep you accountable, and it will keep you on track, and it will keep that vision. And if you want to change that as you go through, absolutely fine, your prerogative, but shift the viewpoint. Don't take it off entirely, so you just find yourself wandering aimlessly. There's a wonderful thing by Sonia Choquette. She's saying, if we don't, if we're not kind of in tune with what we want next, it's a bit like being in the middle of a forest with a compass that is just moving in all directions. We don't necessarily have a focus. So exciting times ahead for sure. And it's, yeah, you're likely to move into 2025 feeling a sense of anticipation and a sense of, right, let's do this, which is great, which is really great to see. So I hope that's helped. I hope that sparks some interest and intrigue. If you want a more in-depth reading, be sure to check out your rising sign and your moon sign, as well as your sun sign. And there will definitely be some more messages, some more guidance that will spark a little bit of awareness and insight for you. So until next week, have a wonderful, wonderful, well-earned festive break, and I'll see you soon.